Welcome in to the Lucas podcast. Lucas Frankel alongside a very annoyed, agitated Mike Lucas. Mike, I hear they're filming a movie in Cleveland. This is causing you a lot of stress in your life right now. Tell me more about that. What's going on in Cleveland?
Yeah, I have to get this off my chest. They are filming the new Superman movie in downtown Cleveland
Sorry,
right
who?
now. It's not Henry Cavill. It's a new Superman. It's the next iteration of the DC movies. All the DC superhero movies have sucked, so I have low expectations for this movie already. And even if it's the greatest movie ever, I'm going to
David
write this.
Corn Sweat,
Yeah, whoever it is, even if it's the greatest movie I've
the
ever seen,
first
Frank.
Jewish actor to star in the role. This is a historic moment, not only for the movie industry, but for the Jewish religion. And we're very, very excited and looking forward to this movie doing blockbuster numbers.
All right, well then hopefully he does well. But Frank, I'm still gonna write this movie the worst Rotten Tomatoes reviews of all time. They're filming. They've been filming downtown over the last couple of weeks because it is much cheaper to rent out a bridge, which I'll get to in a sec, or a street in Cleveland with the old buildings than it is to do in New York. And then when they CGI in the other buildings, it's still cheaper than closing down a main street in New York City. So they've been doing this for a while. It hasn't truly impacted my commute to work. They were filming on the street that my office is on, Frank. But it was just a quick detour. You make two blocks up, you go around, you're back, no biggie. Well, now they've closed the Detroit Bridge, which connects downtown to essentially the rest of Cleveland. And on my trip back from the airport on Sunday, I did not realize that they had closed downtown. So when I came down, I had to drive an extra 2.5 miles around to then loop back. No biggie. Well, you figured, okay, they filmed all weekend, they'd be done. No. Yesterday, I tried riding my bike to my girlfriend Gabby's house, who you met on Saturday.
Friday.
Friday. Days are all mixed up. It is usually a 4 mile bike ride straight down Detroit. It is half a mile to Detroit, 3 miles on Detroit, so there's half a mile off. Well, the bridge is still closed. Now, I assumed, okay, well, you can still get through the bridge because, hey, it is a major connector. Really, the only connector from downtown to outside? No. Maybe we ride my bike 2 miles past, all uphill, across the other bridge on the other side of town, which then connects you to Ohio City when I'm trying to go to Lakewood, Frank. And then there's no connecting street, so I had to zigzag, zigzag, zigzag back. It took me 4 miles to get to the other end of the Detroit Bridge, which is usually a half a mile from my apartment. So that bike ride turned from a 4 mile bike ride into an 8 mile bike ride. And then today, went and got my hair cut, which looks great. Thanks for noticing, Frank. And on my way back, of course, the bridge still closed. So guess what you got to do? You got to go all the way around. And the next one, you come back down to then cut through West 9th. It's still closed because not only have they closed the bridge, but they've closed all streets even close to the bridge. So then you get rerouted through traffic. No one knows how to drive in traffic. It's raining here today. And it took me 25 minutes to get home from Black Cat Barbershop in Gordon Square, which is 3.5 miles on a 45-mile-an-hour road, Frank. It usually takes 6 minutes. It took me over 25 minutes. And yes, whatever scene they are filming on the Detroit Bridge better be the best
It's gonna
damn
win an
scene
Oscar.
in
It's
the
gonna win an
history of
Oscar.
cinematography. And if it doesn't, it is a failure. So yes, I'm a little annoyed right now. I apologize.
Well, I'm looking forward to the movie. When it comes out?
No, hopefully never. Hopefully production gets shut down tomorrow and they can all go home and get out of my bridge.
Well, you know what? I'm frustrated too. I am very, very annoyed right now because my baseball team is a complete and utter disaster. The New York Yankees absolutely stink. They're gonna miss the playoffs for the second year in a row.
They're not going to miss the
Something,
playoffs. Let's relax
something
here.
that hasn't. Hang on, I'm still going. Something that hasn't happened since the early '90s when George Steinbrenner was suspended from baseball. Just an absolute catastrophe, and it's crazy. I just don't know how you can go from being the single best team, 50-22 in the first 72 games, to being the worst team in baseball. Like, I just don't understand how that happens. I think that the first 72 games of the season were complete just mirage of what this team truly is. You're seeing all the real problems come out now. Obviously, there are injuries within the starting rotation with Clark Schmidt. The lineup has dealt with several injuries with Stan and Rizzo. Gleyber Torres has looked like a shell of himself. He's been in and out of the lineup with a groin injury. Not that he's a good factor at all, but just top to bottom, just aside from Judge and Soto, like especially when those two guys aren't hitting, like unless you're getting 3 home runs from Ben Rice in a game, which is something we may never see again the rest of his career. Uh, it's just a whole lot of question marks. Anthony Volpe's regressed exponentially. Everyone thought he was going to be like this huge leap, and he has just not done it at all. So, put a bitches for the New York Yankees right now.
I have a hard time now. Granted, this last month has been horrific, Frank. What are they, 6-22 in their last 28
6
games?
and 16 in their past 22
Six and
games.
16. That's what it is. So yeah, it's obviously been a giant decline from the first 70 games where they were arguably the best team in baseball. And we knew, at least I knew, maybe you fell into the mirage, the pitching couldn't be that good. Like that was just an unsustainable rate they were pitching at. And the pitching excellence of the first 70 games was covering up a lot of the mishaps and the shortcomings from the lineup. Judge has been so good that he's able to drive in enough runs typically by himself to keep them in games. And then you only need one or two other guys to contribute even a little bit to hang with some of the better teams in baseball when your pitching's that good. And they've just, as a team, gone cold. And over the last 20-ish games, and I watched Luis Gil start against the Red Sox on Sunday Night Baseball, or was that Monday Night Baseball, whatever it was, 2 nights ago.
There's no Monday Night Baseball anymore. It's just Sunday Night
Oh,
Baseball. It's the only,
was it
the
Sunday
only
Night Baseball?
prime time.
My days are really all screwed up.
And he was great. He was
Yeah,
electric.
he had one mistake to Devers, and then Devers came back and got him again in the ninth. Frank, they lack, in my opinion, I'm trying to think of the right word. It's not the killer instinct. And Judge was equally at fault when Soto got the double to start that inning. And then Judge strikes out, and then Verdugo grounds out, and then Volpe lines out. And they just can't seem to get the one clutch hit they need when the timing is of the utmost importance lately. And I hope that's just a little dip from reality because they were getting every clutch hit for the first 2 months. But I'm not writing them off yet. They probably weren't as good as the first 70 games. They're definitely not as bad as the last 20. And somewhere in between is still good enough to make the playoffs in the American League.
We'll see. I've seen this movie with Aaron Boone before. There's no leadership. When things are going bad, like he has no idea what to do, what to say to flip the switch. Because we saw this last year. Like they were solid, and then this hit some adversity. We saw this in 2022 as well. As soon as they start sliding, he can get ejected or whatnot. He could say whatever he wants to the media. Like it's right out there in front of us, but there's no charisma there. There's no spark. And I remember when I was on the field before the ALDS in 2022 against the Guardians, and I was just around Boone, just observing him, and he was so calm. I'm ready to go to war. I'm ready to fight, run through a brick wall for somebody, and he's out there just hey, what's up? I was like, oh my God, he is way too calm for a critical playoff game. And I thought a lot about that moment since then. I'm how is he? I mean, I guess you could argue that's a great thing for someone who's in such a highly stressed position to have that sort of composure, or you could view it as, does he not understand the importance of what's going on here?
No, it's composure, Frank. Listen, every coach has a different style, and we've seen different styles be successful in the past. It's not a cookie cutter. This style works and this style doesn't. I think the manager has to have a style that fits with the team. And if the team doesn't have the fiery components, then maybe your manager needs to be that fiery guy. If your team is super emotional, it's good to have the calm, cool, and collected manager to even it out. And I'm not saying Boone is the right mesh with the Yankees roster, because I actually don't necessarily think it is. I don't know who the Yankees super fiery rah-rah guy is. Maybe
at the
it's
beginning
Judge.
of the season, we thought it was Verdugo. He was the guy, the attitude guy, brought a little bit of swagger to the team. And one thing that I actually just thought of that no one's really brought up is the Yankees got rid of Joe Girardi because apparently Gary Sanchez was frustrated that Girardi was being hard on him and he wasn't dealing with it well. But I mean, the Yankees need that. The Yankees need some sort of disciplinarian. Boone is such a he's such a buddy guy. I'm sure you go out to have a drink with him. He's awesome to hang around. Super fun, chill guy. But you don't want your best bud to be the manager. I mean, they need someone who can because Gleyber Torres has never been the same really since Boone took over. Sanchez hasn't been a disaster. Has been a disaster. I mean, left the team, has been bouncing around multiple teams since he left the Yankees. But he was great with Girardi. As much as he probably hated Girardi, but for pushing his buttons or whatever he did, he was great under Girardi. So if they were to fire Boone tomorrow and bring back Girardi or Buck Showalter, it would make to me all the world of difference to get someone in there who could hold these guys accountable. Because Gleyber Torres and Trent Grisham, who lollygagging in the field every single game, nothing happens to them. They just get right out the lineup the next game. Everything's fine. Boone's afraid to say anything negative about them, but it's ridiculous. You saw the play Trent Grisham had in the outfield, like the line drive to center field, like just the ball slowly rolled to him. He like barely picked it up, and the guy beat it to second. That can't happen. Can't stand for that. Like if I was running the team, you'd be off the team. I know there's like salaries and whatnot, and these guys have such big egos that you can't really work like that anymore. Like these guys just get away with so much. Boone's so afraid to do anything that could possibly get under their skin. It's a huge issue.
Yeah, and it's not just baseball. That's basketball now. That's football now, Frank. I think the new generation of athlete has to be treated with kitty gloves, for lack of a better word. And it's because, in my opinion, we anoint these guys. And in baseball, it's the same way. Basketball, I know more from experience, and football, I'm sure, is the same. These guys are superstars at age 13 and 14 now because of TikTok and social media. And I don't want to say they've never had to work for anything. That's unfair. That's not what I'm trying to articulate. But they're a celebrity so early that they don't know how to be coached. And you look in the NBA, all these new era head coaches that are coming in, the young guys, more particularly, even Popovich and Steve Kerr have completely changed their tune over the last couple of years. They have become player-first coaches. And the era of the disciplinarian, tough guy who's you're scared to play for and you're scared to mess up around, like that doesn't exist in today's day and age of sports, Frank. And I don't know baseball well enough. Like, are any of those old school hard era, like Girardi's?
I mean, I don't know like what Bruce Bochy's managerial style is, but I believe he's the oldest current manager. And the Texas Rangers, I know they're not doing well this year, but reigning World Series champions. Before that, Dusty Baker with the Houston Astros. Before that, Snitker with the Braves is an old school guy.
Like, are they like truly disciplinarian guy? Like, I feel like Dusty Baker was a player's manager, and I'm not 100% sure on that, but I feel like I just feel like today's day and age of kids, Frank, and I call these people kids because it's more of the young guys than the old guys, the 22 to 26, 27-year-olds. You just have to treat them with baby gloves because they've always gotten their way in life. And I'm not saying they should, but that's what comes with being the best athlete in your area and being a social media king at 15, 16 years old. That's what happens to you. And I don't know how you find that happy medium balance between being a hard ass and also getting these guys to like you when they've never been coached before. I think it's a damn near impossible task.
So I've started this new thing. No one's really caught on to it yet, but after the last two Yankee games, or when they were losing 3-1 on Saturday, I tweeted this, and I tweeted this or X this on Sunday as well. I tweeted the hashtag Yankees will win nothing as long as Boone and Cashman are still employed. The faster everyone realizes that, the better off everything will be. Don't waste your time. So I'm gonna tweet that, like, because I'd be like I don't think the Yankees are winning many more games the rest of the season. So I'm gonna be tweeting this a lot. So we'll see how quickly people catch on to this, what I'm doing. But let's.
You want to play take him or trash him?
Yeah. So yeah, run through some players in the team. Give you my thoughts about them and just sort of where things stand right now.
You have a 25-second timer for each player because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have 11 of these, so you get 25 seconds per. You ready?
Yep.
Ben Rice, take or trash.
So I like Ben Rice. I think Ben Rice has a chance to be a really, really solid player. What I'm confused about, because he's like been one of the lone bright spots here, is he just gonna Wally Pip Anthony Rizzo? Are we not gonna see Anthony Rizzo again? Because Rizzo wasn't doing so good. But I do think Rizzo has a lot of leadership abilities to the team. So I'm curious to see what they do, because if Ben Rice continues to play, that creates a whole other predicament for the Yankees. I like him. I just don't. It's a huge issue potentially for the Yankees in terms of what they do with Rizzo.
Juan Soto.
So Soto's super talented. You can't argue with the talent. And I don't know if this is solely on him, but like when things are going badly, is he a kind of guy that's looking at everyone else in the team and be like, hey, step it the F up. Let's go. Step it up. We got this is not acceptable. Is he like chewing out Gleyber Torres for not hustling? Is he chewing out Trent Grisham for not feeling the ball? The guy is uber talented, probably the most talented player in baseball. But what about the other stuff? What about like the locker room stuff? I have questions. I think the Yankees should pay him just because they're on a bridge to nowhere right now, but What do you? I mean, I'm genuinely curious. Because no one's everyone's so afraid to say anything critical about Juan Soto.
I don't know if any one person can rally a team in baseball like they can in football or basketball. So if you have a guy like Soto on your roster and you give the assets it took to acquire him, which granted wasn't a ton, but it was still a significant amount, I think you're crazy to let that guy walk. He's still so young and so talented. You have to do whatever you can to take him back. Aaron Judge, Frank, take him or trash him.
I mean, I obviously would take Judge. He's the captain of the team. I was really annoyed when he grounded that double play last week against the Reds. I mean, that was the game the Yankees had a chance to take the lead and possibly win. And he, in the biggest moment of the game, just like absolutely bat-breaking double play. Obviously, he's having an MVP season, but it's just when things are going bad. It's like when he's hitting, the Yankees win. When he doesn't, the Yankees lose. It pretty much comes down to as simple as that. But obviously, he's the centerpiece of the team, and it should be for a long time.
What you said about Judge, about Soto, are you sure he's the guy that can rally the troops? Like, I think that's a fair question to ask for Aaron Judge, too. Alex Verdugo, take him, trash him.
I am so out on Verdugo. The Red Sox fleeced the Yankees in this trade. They're so much better off without him. I liked him the first couple months, but Verdugo has just simply stopped hitting. Whenever he's hit a couple home runs, he's had 2 home runs in the past 2 months, like combined, both against the Red Sox. Pimped the crap out of them. I think he needs to realize if you're going to do that, you got to be more consistent. You can't just be pimping home runs every single time you hit a home run once a month, which is absolutely ridiculous. You got to be more consistent, flat out. And once Jason Dominguez comes back, he's got to take Verdugo's spot in the lineup. So this is a big time trash. And I do not want him back on the team next year.
Giancarlo Stanton.
So unfortunately, the Yankees are stuck with him. Whenever Stan always gets hurt when at the worst possible time. Like he only gets hurt when he is absolutely murdering the ball. And then once he does that, he's and the thing about him, he doesn't even run hard and he still gets hurt. So I don't even understand why he needs to be on the injured list because he doesn't run anyway. So if he's got a hurt hamstring, what does it matter whether he can run or not? As long as you can still swing the bat with force, what difference does it make? Because any ground ball in the infield is an automatic out for him anyway. So to be perfectly honest, I don't understand why he needs to be on the injured list because he doesn't run anyway. So what difference does it make? And he doesn't play the field.
Gleyber Torres, sounds like you're out on him.
I cannot stand Gleyber Torres. My least favorite player on the team. They need to send a message and get him off the roster. There is no reason why Oswald Peraza should be the everyday second baseman. Gleyber Torres, absolute trash.
DJ LeMahieu.
Simply put, has lost the ability to play baseball. DFA tomorrow.
Jose Trevino.
Got completely exposed. Has not thrown a run. I can't remember the last time he threw a run around the bases. I think this stolen base rule that baseball has implemented, I honestly don't believe it's good for the game. Like it's so easy to steal bases now. Like the art of like getting runners caught stealing used to be like an awesome thing to see. I like love when guys get caught stealing, but now it's super easy. Now the Yankees just don't do it anymore because Boone has no idea what he's doing. But the Yankees are just simply not taking advantage of the system stealing bases, and to see all the teams that just basically turn every single walk or infield single or whatever it is to a triple, basically, because Trevino can't throw anybody out, cannot be tolerated. He is a true liability. Don't school me on pitch framing. Couldn't care less. Throw the guy out in the bases. You got to control the base running, and the MLB's got to fix the base running rule. Made it way too easy.
Austin Wells.
So Wells needs to be the everyday catcher. That's easy. Major take.
Trent Grisham.
He needs to be DFA'd.
And lastly, Oswaldo Cabrera.
So he's a nice role player, but if he's starting at all, that's a major issue. He's a solid guy to come in off the bench when there's a critical injury, but overall, as you could probably tell, not a big fan of this Yankee team. And one of my other big issues with this team is that whenever they go to extra innings, they're like 1-10 in extra inning games this year. It is a true joke. I don't know it's like they don't have like true striker guys in the bullpen. They never get the guy over from second to third to lead off the inning ever. They have one walk-off win the entire year. It feels like every other team has like at least 5 or 6. So I think I may be more frustrated with this individual Yankee team than I have with any other team like in my lifetime. It is so frustrating. And
yet, despite the frustration, Frank, the Yanks currently sit in first place in the American League's wild card race with a 55-37 record. They trail the Baltimore Orioles by 3 games in the division, and overall, their 55 wins rank 1, 2, 3, 4th in baseball. So for as frustrating as they've been in the last 16 games, they are still one of the top 5 teams in Major League Baseball.
So you think the Yankees have enough to turn it around and get back on track here?
I'm just not completely. Listen, you're essentially saying this team is over. They're dead. They're done. They have no chance. I don't think they are over, dead, done. I think you're overestimating these issues. I don't think they're super World Series ready right now, but they are certainly not, oh my God, we have to pull all the wheels off this wagon. We are headed for pure and utter destruction ASAP. So yes, I have a little more optimism and faith in this team than you do.
Fair enough. So let's move on to the National Basketball Association. We haven't done a podcast since the Nets traded Mikal Bridges to the New York Knicks. Gotta say, Sean Marks has done it again. I guess in a perfect world, you wouldn't have traded Mikal Bridges to the Knicks to reunite him with all his little buddies. But to get control of those first-round picks is such a lifesaver. I'm so happy the Nets finally decided to just throw in the towel here and tank and get a Cooper Flagg or one of the top elite prospects coming into the draft in 2025. So maybe everything goes to plan. I believe the Nets should get at worst the 4th pick in the draft. But
yeah, they're going to be they're going to be terrible this year. That's a choice the team is making as an organization. Sean Marks, it feels like he's the best tanking GM of all time. Like, he does a terrific job of turning pieces into assets, and now he has to prove for a second time, because he didn't do a great job the first time, he can turn those assets into a winning basketball team. The fact that you got essentially the same return for Mikal Bridges as you got for Kevin Durant is absurd. I mean, the Knicks paid an exuberant price to get Mikal Bridges, who, in my opinion, is a very good all-star caliber player, but is
you think
not...
you view him as an all-star caliber player? He's never going to make an all-star team.
He's in the range of guys who can make an all-star team, though. I don't think it'd be like, if he made the all-star team this year, would you be shocked?
Yeah, I'd be shocked. I'd be absolutely floored, given the amount of talent in the Eastern Conference. That he would make the team over a Giannis or a Tatum or a Jaylen Brown or an Embiid. I didn't say that.
He's not making it over those guys, but he could be.
But you only have a certain amount of spots for forwards. He's not getting voted in. He's the 4th best guy in the Knicks, probably.
My point is he one of the top 20 players in the East? Sure. Yes, he is. Is he a top?
Maybe a top 40
in the East? In the Eastern Conference, top 40.
Top 40.
Well, yeah, no crap. He's top 40. He's top 20. Like,
I don't know about that.
Mikal Bridges could be the second option.
No, he can't. If he's your second option, you're
you let me finish one sentence here, Frank. I just let you give 30 minutes on the Yankees. Let me get one sentence in here. Mikal Bridges could be number 2 on an okay team and a number 3 on a really good team. And with the Knicks, he is a number 3, which is exactly where he slides into. It's exactly the role he should be playing. It's what he played in Phoenix when he was at his best. He was way over.
Wait. Hang on. Have you seen his stats? Have you seen the difference of his stats from the Suns to the Nets? He's like doubled his points per game when he was at his best. Yeah, look at the numbers, Mike.
Opportunities. Yeah, anyone can score on a bad team, Frank. Don't pretend
So in your mind, he was at his best with the Suns, not that first stint with the Nets.
I'm gonna.
You said he was at his best.
I'm gonna drive a stake through your head. You take everything so little. He was in his best role as the 3rd option on a Phoenix Sun team that reached the NBA Finals, Frank.
Right,
he was over his skis. It was over his
different phrase. You said he was at his best, not in the best role for himself.
And that's why with him as the best player in Brooklyn, they were anemic at best. They were mediocre. They were going absolutely nowhere. So Sean Marks had a decision. Do we try and add other elite talent around Mikal Bridges? And is Mikal Bridges as a second option with a Donovan Mitchell type player good enough to compete in the East? The answer was clearly no. So instead of doing that, let's break it all down, rebuild, and acquire as many future picks as humanly possible, because the 25 and the 26 NBA draft classes are both loaded. It was a brilliant move by Sean Marks, and it's one that doesn't happen without the guarantee they get their picks back from Houston in the first place. So it was a 2-part trade. Both made a ton of sense. And as a Nets fan, it makes me very happy that although we may suck for the next couple of years, you now have hope. And before the trade to get their picks back from Houston, there was no hope with this franchise, Frankel. We were a lost cause, a rudderless canoe, and now at least we have a direction. The direction is the bottom of the damn ocean, and then we kick off the ground and we make our way back up.
So what do you do? So do you think the Nets will ultimately trade Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, and then do you just play Ben Simmons? But you know what's going to happen. Ben Simmons is going to have a career year here.
Yeah.
And it's going to screw the Nets over.
Well, I hope he has a great first half, because then you trade him for a first-round pick at the deadline.
I mean, if you just tell Ben Simmons, hey, you know what, just chill Miami for the winter, Just, relax. We'll pay you $40 million. Do you think he opposes? Do you think he says like, no, I want to play? I think he's like
No,
totally fine.
I think he would stay in South Beach.
Yeah.
I think they're going to hold on to Cam Johnson till the trade deadline. I think they'll get 2 firsts for Cam Johnson at the trade deadline. I think Dorian Finney-Smith, you'll get a young player back. The Cavs make a ton of sense for Dorian Finney-Smith in a sign and trade with Isaac Okoro, who isn't that good, but is going to be on a cheap contract for the next couple of years, who fits alongside other guys, low usage rate guy, who makes less money than DFS. You'll probably, if not getting a player back, you'll get a pick for him. Nick Claxton for $25 million. It's the going rate for a center. He is not going to change the trajectory. You're not going to be a bottom 4 seed because of Nick Claxton, and you have to have some competent players around whoever you draft with this high draft pick. They are in a perfect position to bottom out, and it only makes sense to bottom out if you have your own draft pick. And kudos to Sean Marks because he got essentially the same return for Mikal Bridges that the Phoenix Suns had to give up for Kevin Durant.
So, just out of curiosity, over under during his time with the Knicks, a half an All-Star appearance for Mikal Bridges.
I'll go over. I think
Really?
he's a fringe All-Star. Yes, if he's averaging,
I'd be shocked if he even sniffed the game.
Nah.
I
mean, it's
he's
tough
a
to
small
make
forward, right? Small forward.
Yeah, there's the position flexibility now. He's not going to get voted in, but there's position
Tatum,
flexibility.
Anunoby, Embiid.
No. You
Mitchell,
can't put
Kate
Anunoby.
Cunningham,
You can't put
Tyrese
Anunoby
Halliburton,
ahead of him.
Giannis, Trae Young.
Okay, so you got Giannis
Jimmy
and Tatum.
Butler.
Hold on,
Wagner.
Frank. He's better
I
than
named
Franz
at least
Wagner.
10 guys.
He's way better than Franz Wagner.
No, he's not. Franz Wagner just got like a 5-year, $280 million deal. Mikal Bridges
the rookie max, and Evan Mobley's about to get the same contract, and Mikal Bridges is way better than Evan Mobley too. He's
no,
better
he's
than
not.
Barnes. Yes, he is.
Do you watch basketball? Clearly not.
If you are gonna sit here and look me dead in the face and say that Mikal Bridges is not as good as Franz Wagner, we might as well just end this podcast, Frank. That could not.
Really, I would take Franz Wagner over Mikal
truth.
Bridges every day of the week. Evan Mobley, I would take if you had a choice, who would you rather have? Evan Mobley, Mikal Bridges? You're taking
right now with a build around.
If you're trying to win a championship,
Mikal Bridges is better than Evan Mobley is right now.
That's ridiculous. That's absolutely preposterous.
I watch Evan Mobley every night. Trust me, I know.
Mikal Bridges, you're overrating Mikal Bridges so hard right now. It's not even funny. Mikal Bridges, I'm telling you right now, is never making an All-Star team.
Oh, it's not because he's not capable. It's because it's a tough. Evan Mobley is a good chance to never make an All-Star team. Franz Wagner will never make an All-Star team.
I guarantee you, Evan Mobley makes an All-Star team before Mikal Bridges does. I guarantee it.
Well, we'll see. Listen, I like Evan Mobley. He's got a ton of potential. He has been disappointing thus far in his career. No, I don't know where you get this idea that he's been some sort of unicorn. The dude can't shoot. Mikal Bridges, if he averages 18 points next year,
he'll average 8 to 10 points per game for the Knicks.
Oh my God, you are so lost in the soup, Frank.
I'm telling you. He's going to be the third or fourth option. He's not going to get that many opportunities to score. Brunson and Anunoby are the lead dogs on that team.
Anunoby's not better than Bridges by himself.
Yes, he is.
Hold on.
Anunoby is so much better than Mikal Bridges. It's not even close.
We have exactly a fair comparison here because the same team traded for both of them. To get OG Anunoby, they gave up RJ Barrett and Emmanuel quickly. To get Mikal Bridges, they have a Kevin freaking Durant package. Who did they value?
You could argue is the greatest overpay in the history of basketball. He is not even close to being worth that.
Both teams were in division opponents. They gave up significantly more for Mikal Bridges than for OG Anunoby. Frank, you are making yourself sound so foolish right now.
OG Anunoby completely transformed.
I feel bad for you.
I feel bad for you.
You may not want to post this podcast because you're making yourself look like a straight up fool.
Mikal Bridges is one of the most overrated players. I cannot believe the Knicks gave up as much as they did for Mikal Bridges. He's an okay basketball player. OG Anunoby transformed the Knicks. They were 26-4 with OG Anunoby was healthy. Mikal Bridges will never have that. No, we will. What? No. Oh my God.
You are so lost. I gotta pull up these. I gotta pull up these numbers, bro. I'm going a side-by-side basketball reference. Hold on. Keep. I'm gonna shut up for a sec. Just keep talking. I'm gonna have a side-by-side comparison between OG and Bridges.
So if you're just looking at the points per game, the Knicks record with OG Anunoby, let's see what our friend Google has to say.
It was good. It was really good. But it was good because they needed a wing. He was a wing that fit exactly what they needed, and they started making every shot. Let's see for their careers.
They were 26-5 and like
Frank,
they were like
for their
they were
for their
under
careers,
500 without him.
for their careers, Frank, for their careers. Bridges has played in 60 more games, averages 2.5 more points. Anunoby averages 0.1 more rebounds. Bridges averages an entire assist more per game. Anunoby averages 1.3 steals. Bridges averages 1.2 blocks per game. Bridges.
This is like the Derek
Field
G
goal
argument.
percentage. Bridges 3-point percentage exactly a tie. Free throw percentage. Bridges. Every advanced metric favors Mikal Bridges. There's nothing.
I don't care what the
there's
stats
no
say.
stat in
OG
the world.
Anunoby
There's
is
no
a
stat in the
true
world other
difference
than
maker.
what you think.
True
Also, one guy's
Mikal
always
Bridges.
hurt. One guy plays every single game. He's never missed a game since high school.
I don't
And
care about that.
OG only plays like 7 games a year. Frank, this might be your worst take ever. This is actually gonna go.
I'm gonna do an X poll and see what people say. Who would you rather have, OG Anunoby or Mikal Bridges? And the correct answer is OG Anunoby.
You're so lost in this.
I don't know why you think Mikal Bridges is like some sort of good basket. Like he's a solid player. OG Anunoby is a transcendent player. Transform the Knicks.
Oh my, transcendent. The Raptors just gave him up for a bag of rocks.
The Knicks stole him. They completely stole him to transform the team. When he's in the lineup, like they might win the whole thing. If he stays healthy, they
Raptors
win
were
the whole
asking
thing.
for 2 first-round picks for Anunoby. 2. The Nets just got 5 end players for Bridges, Frank.
Bridges is I cannot. That was a tragic overpay because Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson were like, we want our friend. We want our friend. So they got their friend and they had to overpay for him. It was a terrible move. But OG Anunoby will make a much bigger difference. All right, we're out of time. That's ridiculous. Well, the people will be on my side.
I love you, but I'm speechless, buddy. Here, wait. Let's. Who could I call right now? All right, hey, let's end it up. I'm gonna see who I can get on the phone.
All right, that will do it for this edition of the Lucas podcast. We'll be back next week with our poll results about how OG Anunoby is a much better player than Mikal Bridges. Peace.